To yearn or not to yearn? That is the question. Let me start out with a quote. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. At the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. That is a great, powerful, inspirational quote. So let's say you begin something and the world doesn't open up. Magic doesn't happen. Does that mean what? Are you not committed? Well, whether you're committed or not has everything to say with what you do next, right? If you stop, then you weren't so committed. If you keep going, that shows commitment. Now, does that mean that the universe is testing us? No, I do not believe that for a second. We are not here to be tested. We are here to create. But there is a basic truth about creating that is not stated in that quote. And here is the basic truth of creation, that it takes a dualistic world to create. The basic truth of creation is that it actually takes a duality, because there is before the creation and there is after. There is no creation, then there is creation. It takes time and a dualistic world to create. This is a very tough concept sometimes for those of us who travel this spiritual path. The Buddhists tell us that all yearning, all desire creates suffering. That the only way to not have suffering is to not yearn or desire, but simply to accept what is. But we who move forward in science of mind, we want to create. But sometimes we get caught in some of the ideas and premises and misunderstandings of the quotes that inspire us. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. That may be true, but we don't always see that providence right away. And if we are stuck in the idea of seeing the providence, then it would be easy to say, hey, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Another very misunderstood quote was by Joseph Campbell, who said, follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors where there were only walls. He didn't say that follow your bliss and then life is easy. And yet for many people in our movement, they think that's what happens. And if we follow our bliss, everything's just going to be hunky-dory and we live happily ever after. And if that's not happening, then maybe we're not following our bliss. Maybe there's something wrong and this really isn't the bliss we're supposed to be following. And that isn't the case. What is the case is that there is within ourselves that which is a powerful creative force, creating every moment into a dualistic world. There is only one that is creating, but what it is creating into is a dualistic world of cause and effect. It isn't just cause and then cause and then cause. It is cause and effect. Cause and effect. That is a dualistic approach. And so finding our way in this dualistic world is how we grow our foundation. Now, am I saying, that you only have two choices here? Either be a Buddhist in total acceptance and no desire, or you suffer? Well, to some extent, I guess I am saying that. But the good news is that it's not cut and dry. Because what is true is that providence does move. There are unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which we may never have dreamed of when we fully commit. But what we need to remember here is that what actually shows up is what we have fully embodied. Embodied with our mind, our hearts, our actions. What shows up is the full totality of embodiment of who we are. And so we're not being tested, and yet we are needing to grow into whatever it is we deeply desire. And so there's a thing that there is a school of thought that talks about the difference between structural tension and emotional tension. Structural tension is simply the difference between what you desire and what you have. And physics tells us that every structural tension will resolve one way or another. Either it will resolve up, like a rubber band, to creating what it is we desire, or the same rubber band will create down. But either way, tension will be relieved. Now, the Buddhists tell us that there is no way to separate structural tension from emotional tension. And they may be right. Because even Ernest Holmes tells us, depending on the depth of feeling associated to the thought, it will manifest stronger the deeper the feeling. Well, that being the case, then we're emotionally engaged in what it is we desire, in which case we are emotionally engaged in not having it. And so instead of trying to avoid tension, avoid suffering, if we can stay and hold that mental equivalent of what we want to create, yet take on some of the Buddhist adage of accepting where we are now, so that what we're dealing with is at least less emotional structural tension and less emotional tension and more structural tension. Acknowledge where we are, acknowledge where we want to be. That's structural tension. Know that there is a larger power on our side, working with us whether we can see it now or not. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. It is our commitment, our ability to move through the tough times, ability to not go, well, maybe this isn't mine to do, but actually stand in our truth. Irregardless of our triggers, emotional upset, or anything else that might be going on, our ability to remember what's really true in the midst of all that, once again comes back to our spiritual practice. And what shows up always comes back to what it is we embody. Our deepest desires is what we're doing anyway. We can think one thing is our desire, another thing is our desire, and we can be sure that it's from a very deep place within us. But I promise you, and we're going to do a guided meditation on this, that your true, deepest heart desires, you've been doing all along anyway. It's the things you come back to time and time and time again throughout your entire life. Or, as if you're on, as if it just pulls you, as if there's this magnetic force. I have tried over 40 years to quit playing music. To go, this is not my path. It's why I have actually endeavored into over 86 different types of work, doing my best to find something else that calls me. But the two things that have called me, that when I look back at my life, that I have been doing since I was a kid, one was play music, the other is teach. The other is be involved in a spiritual process that I then speak of and share. These are the two things that I have been doing my whole life, no matter what else I have done. And so I am so clear because I can look back on my life and say, oh, I tried this, I tried that, I tried doing that. Oh, I tried moving away from music and doing this and that, and then I'm back. And then I'm back again. And then I'm back again. And if you look at your life, you will find those same things that have consistently drawn you back. Even when you said, no, this isn't for me. No matter what stance you have taken, they have drawn you back. Those are the deepest desires you have. Now, does it mean because they're the deepest desires, they don't have suffering attached? No! In fact, probably just the opposite. It's where your biggest suffering lies, is when those things don't turn out the way you want them to. Because those things are really deep in there. Talk about attachment, right? These things are so attached, so deep inside you, that of course there's going to be suffering. You can't, it would be like pulling off your arm to get that feeling, cutting off with a saw your arm to release the attachment, be detached from this thing that is so deep within us. Instead, this is where acceptance comes into play. There was a shaman I wanted to work with. And every time I was around him, I got nervous. And I couldn't relax around this guy. And because I couldn't relax around him, he did not trust me and did not want to work with me. And I was constantly beating myself up for not being able to relax around this guy. Until finally the day came when I was like, you know what? I can't relax around this guy. I need to accept that about myself. Now, from then forward, I still got nervous around the guy, but I gave up the beating myself up piece. I never learned to relax around him. But I accepted my own, call it suffering, call it upset, call it anxiety, whatever you want to label it as. Accepting that about myself healed me around that. Gave me a higher plane of being. Even in the midst. And that's what we have available to us. Not so much that the suffering's going to go away, but that in our acceptance of what really matters to us and allowing the fact that there may be some upset around that, we have taken another chunk of our lives, another chunk of our soul back. To be admitting that this matters. I actually am attached to this. I don't actually want to let this go. This is a deep part of who I am. We have within us the soul of magnificence, the soul of creation. And we have each of us in our own unique way what has drawn us time and time again. Answer that call. Do not be swayed by the outcomes, or more importantly, how you feel about the outcomes. Acceptance of what truly matters deep in you. And there are those in this world that what truly matters deep in them is to let go of all desire. So if that is where you have constantly gone throughout your life, I highly recommend becoming Buddhist. But if where you are in the creative process is to create, then I highly recommend accepting that about you, loving that about you, loving that part of you that doesn't let go, that is attached to this part of creation. And I am grateful that you have come forth in your life to create whatever it is that draws you, that calls you. Thank you. Thank you for being the one who is called so strongly to do what is yours to do. Thank you. Let's do a meditation on this. Sit back, take a deep breath, and relax. And as we always start, imagine yourself on a path. It is the perfect path. It is your path. Feels great with underneath your feet. You walk along it easily. The sights, the sounds, how it feels against your skin. So relaxing. So perfect for you. And you come to a clearing. It is the perfect clearing. It is your sanctuary. And there's a chair in the middle. It is the perfect chair. Go and sit in it and feel the of sitting in your chair, in your sanctuary, looking out at your view, feeling the air against your skin, the light, the sights, the sounds, everything. Just magnificently peaceful, relaxing, and safe. And from this place, take a journey back along your life, all the way to childhood, as far back as you can see. And look for those few, because there are never many, it's just a few things that have attracted you time and time again. No matter what else you have done, look for those projects, creations, doing this that has constantly attracted you, no matter what else you are doing. Feel how that draws you. Feel how those creations, those creative endeavors are a part of you. Feel how your deepest desires rest in them. Take another deep breath and relax even more. As you love yourself for what it is that you have come here to be, for what you have come here to do, what has called you all your life, time and time and time again. Love yourself. Appreciate yourself for what is yours to do. Thank yourself for this recognition as I thank you for bringing forth what only you can bring forth. No one else can do what you came here to do in the way you came here to do it. This is uniquely yours to bring forth into life. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this forth into life. Thank yourself for this chance to look at this way of being in the world, or another way of recognizing the depth of your desire for what is yours to do. And when you're ready, open your eyes.